Pan, what is your favorite archetype for characters? In, like, movies, anime, manga, anything.
Damn, tough question right off the bat.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. I mean, a good underdog is always entertaining to watch. I mean, he also has to be likable. So not just an underdog that also acts cocky. Like with an example that already comes to mind is Food Wars.
What is
Where
that?
Food Wars is like a cooking anime, also shonen, but the cooking is like very extreme, well animated and shit, but the story's kind of ass. But what I mean, the MC is the underdog. Like no one expects anything from him because he's a nobody, like not rich at all. But he also at the same time acts super cocky that he's better than everyone, and he kind of is. But then it just feels ass when he loses. Like I don't know, like doesn't I don't like I don't like the cocky character, but an underdog is pretty cool. Or those smart or strong but also laid back characters like Shikamaru from
Yes, sir.
Naruto, or the MC from Gintama. Gintoki also laid back, pretty strong, very funny, but like he doesn't care a lot. He just lives life, right?
Yeah. So the underdog and characters that can be presumed as the underdog because they don't really care, but then they're actually broken.
Yeah, either broken in terms of power, or they smart, or I mean anything else really. Just those chilled characters that don't need to be in the foreground all the time.
All right, bet. Yeah, I can for sure agree on that. I think my favorite type of character would most likely be, I don't know, for some reason I just like seeing a good character just turn evil for some reason. Like Walter White, of course. I mean, there's a lot of examples, but I just love that character that can just, for some reason, he just snaps and then does what he has to do in order to, do what it has to do in life, and then also becoming bad in the progress.
Yeah, it's always like a good, like if a show or book or anything can pull something like this off, it's always super entertaining to see. You can also, like, if you're into that, like, analyze the hell out of this character, just all the intricacies. And Walter White is like one of the best examples you could have given, probably.
God, that show is just so good. If you guys haven't seen Breaking Bad, bro, please go watch it. But this ain't got nothing to do with podcast, and I just want to just, dig into Pan's mind a little bit. Hello, welcome back to the Further Beyond podcast. What's good, Pan? How you doing?
I'm chilling. Exams over for now. I'm just waiting for the grades. And like one of my professors still hasn't given me a grade for a class that I finished.
Still?
When was it? Like 6 months ago. So I'm still waiting.
Oh my! That was like you said that like a whole month ago. How long have you been waiting?
Nah, like the one month ago was just a regular exam, but then I also have another like grade. Like it's still open. Like I still don't know if I actually passed the class. Like no one in my class has gotten the grade yet. And she just said, yeah, next semester I'm gonna do it. Like she said this last semester.
No.
The semester's already over, basically. Like I gotta email her tomorrow.
Is it like a class you are worried about?
Not really, but it would be annoying if I didn't pass. It's just a whole lot of talking, and then at the end you just write a text about everything you learned. Like, I don't care.
All right, well, Pan is stressing right now. I'm pretty good. I ain't gonna hold you.
A little bit.
So Pan, he has a theory today that I'll let him say it, but I kind of wanted to match his theory. It's about basically something being built that we didn't think was actually built. But Pan, you wanna go ahead and say what your theory is?
Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go first then.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah. So the title of my theory is the super classic theory. Probably everyone knows about this more or less. It's the moon being built by aliens, right?
Yes,
the moon is not something that is quote-unquote natural for us. It just is there in space. Nope, it's aliens. It's got to be aliens all the time.
Has to be
Like
alien.
Like if you really think about it, somehow like aliens are like part of any good conspiracy, like 50% of them at least.
All of them.
And I mean, it's probably because we just don't know anything, or almost, like, we don't know almost nothing about aliens. So it's just a good, like, thing to just add. Like, if you want to have a good conspiracy, just add aliens, and then instantly better. Everyone likes it.
It'll have nothing
yeah.
to do with it, though. It just come out of nowhere.
Doesn't matter. Like, you have the Bigfoot conspiracy, just say, I don't know, it's an alien, or aliens created it. Damn, already better.
That's true.
But yeah, the moon was built by aliens apparently, and this, I want to go a bit more in depth. So it's not just about the alien part, but also about actual, like, theories, scientific theories on how the moon it was actually created. And first and foremost, the moon is, and I didn't even know this, actually like an anomaly, and not something that makes a whole lot of sense, at least not everything. I looked at pictures. I think last week I sent a couple of them into our Discord channel. I would need to find them again. But in those pictures, I saw that our moon is actually just way too big compared to our planet. Usually moons are way smaller. Like, you have planets like, I don't know, Jupiter, right? Jupiter is hella big, like this gas giant. And then the moons that orbit around Jupiter are smaller than our moon. So they're just super small, and it's all fine. But for our Earth, our moon is just way too big. So people from then on started, like, thinking, why is this the case? Is our moon maybe, like, not real? It's like an anomaly. It doesn't make sense, because it's the only, or at least from what I've read, in our galaxy, it's the only case where the moon has this weird of a ratio, like planet to moon. Yeah, and given, like, mathematically, given the size of our planet, the moon should be around 40 miles long. But instead, like how it actually is, it is around 2,000 miles long. So this is like,
wait, it's that big? What the hell?
Yeah, so it should technically, if we compare it to other moons and planets, be way smaller than it actually is. I don't know if this even says, and like, if this even means anything, but when I saw the numbers, I was just, perplexed a little bit, because I didn't even know about this, like, that this is actually something that is going on. But the current scientific theory, and somehow, like, when I talked to some friends about this, they knew about it. Like, I feel left out. But the current scientific theory on how the moon around our Earth was created was that, like, many fucking years in the past, like, probably billions, right?
Yeah.
Or even more, an object crashed or kind of touched our Earth, and this object had the size of Mars, the planet Mars. So it crashed into Earth, or, I don't know, grazed it somehow, like, parts were, like, left on Earth. And because of gravitational forces, it formed, like, all these parts that were then flying around. Earth became like Saturn. So we had this ring around Earth. Like, all these parts from that object were just flying around Earth, orbiting. And because of said gravitational forces, these bits and pieces, after being a ring for some time, formed a sphere that is now, instead of the whole ring, rotating around Earth. So all these particles formed together, formed a big ball, and now it's the moon. So this is the current scientific theory, at least. I don't know how you can even prove this. Is there actually, like, proof for this, evidence? I don't think so. I never heard about this, but somehow it's actually ongoing, and people know about this. I mean, as I said, this was like while researching, this was the first time I ever heard about this. Did you know about this?
I mean, I heard so I heard about that, but I heard it was more of like basically a meteorite was coming towards Earth and then missed it and then got caught inside like the gravitational pull basically. But I didn't know anything hit Earth. That's crazy, honestly.
Yeah. So, and I mean, it can either hit Earth or just get caught into the by the gravitational forces. We cannot really prove this. And saying like, where's the crater? Like, where's the place it hit? Like, this was billions of years ago. Like, Earth already changed. Like, another theory suggests that all the continents were one continent. So why should Earth still look the way it looked like a billion years ago or 10 billion years ago? So of course we will not find the place the object hit. So it doesn't really matter. But this is the current scientific theory.
Yeah.
So the conspiracy theory, on the other hand, suggests that the moon is artificial and made by extraterrestrial beings, so aliens. And while looking at the moon, people were saying, I mean, probably still are. It's one of the biggest theories I think out there, saying the moon was built by aliens. People say they saw or there were recorded these weird structures on the moon, some type of shadow creatures, right? Like this is
what?
This basic stuff. Like people see some shit all the time.
That's not basic, bro.
shadow structures, I don't know, like with almost any theory talking about a location, there's almost always some type of structures and creatures involved.
No way. This isn't like that Rick and Morty episode where like he saw the smudge and then the smudge came down to Earth or whatever.
Bro, this better be what happens, bro. I want to see these creatures.
Exactly.
Come down to Earth. Come down to me or Apollo. probably Apollo.
What? They always come to America just for no reason.
Yeah, you want to be the center of the Earth, so the aliens better go to you.
Hell no. I don't want anything to do with them. They got it. I'm going with them.
God damn. But yeah, those structures were said to look like markers, or the term that was used is monoliths. So they are some sort of beacons, almost like radio towers, if that makes sense. Like they were artificially made. These structures are not natural. They don't look natural. So the question arises, is the moon perhaps, because of those beacons, some type of space station or spaceship on some Star Wars Death Star shit? Imagine that just at some point the moon just opens up and then there's just fucking metal cables, aliens flying around.
Oh yeah, we're fucked.
But yeah, and I also read this. I didn't fully understand how those tests work, but they did seismic testing when they were on the moon, apparently, or from Earth. I don't know how they do these tests. And the numbers were off by a lot, apparently, saying that the mass volume, like how much it probably weighs or how much is in the moon, so the mass was too low compared to Earth, which, according to the people who believe in this conspiracy theory, say it suggests that it might be hollow. So the volume, the weight, I don't know what the correct term even is here. Just after testing, they say nope, the moon is too light. Like it should be heavier. More should be in there. Numbers are weird. It feels like there's nothing in the moon, or not like no rocks or anything, no heavy stuff. So this also is like one of those hollow moon, hollow Earth, hollow universe theories. Like I think everything connected to space, you can always just add a hollow, and then you have a new theory.
Yeah, it's always hollow something. I mean, hollow Earth and hollow moon seems pretty normal compared to hollow galaxy or whatever we studied during CDD.
Yeah, because like, how would you even explain hollow universe? Like, sure, a planet. I guess it's hollow, but how would a universe be hollow? Like, this is not an object.
I have no idea. Like, it literally is hollow. That's why I didn't see what the theory was. Like, universe is hollow in itself because there's nothing in it except planets and shit. So I don't know.
Yeah, you can just Google hollow universe and you will find almost nothing, or basically nothing of note. Like, sure, there were people researching the hollow Earth theory. Like, one dude paid hella money for expeditions to the South Pole or something to check for openings. Of course, he didn't find anything. Why would he?
How much money did he waste?
Bro, I don't know how. Like, if we think this was like a couple hundred years ago, maybe 200 years ago.
Yeah.
So how much money would you pay to get from Europe to the South Pole?
Oh my god.
Like, this dude had to be rich, didn't know what to do with his money. Just said, yeah, let's sail ship. Like, what the hell no.
And then to not find anything right after that.
Yeah, but he wrote some nice text, right? Like, did some research, probably also got him some money, maybe? I don't know. Like, I don't know how interested people are in, or were in this hollow shit theory.
Well, I think back then people were just interested in space as a whole. Back then, that's all they cared about.
Yeah, though, I mean, you're right. But then also, when I remember, like, back in the day when the church had too much control over research, and they were just saying, "Yep, the Earth is in the center of the universe." Any kind of research disproving this is met with the death penalty. Like, no way to actually do research freely. But then I guess people can still research Earth instead of space, and then find. Like, I mean, they didn't find anything. Like, the Earth is not hollow.
Or
hopefully
they did find something, and they just weren't allowed to release the information about it.
Holy shit. But yeah, so if we assume the moon is an egg, like the legend says, they of course didn't know about spaceships and stuff, so this egg would be the spaceship. Like, somehow you can always connect these legends, these weird stories, to real life stuff. So this ties into the idea of it being some sort of spaceship, space station. It came down to Earth, dropped humans off, like, just, yep, this is the place you will be staying for all eternity. And they just flew away into orbit, and then now they're chilling, watching us, monitoring us. I don't know how much, like, how relevant the fact is that we never see one side of the moon. Like, we always see the same side. There's also this theory going on that's some crazy shit is going on the dark side. But yeah, it all somehow connects. I don't know. I remember even, like, my grandma a couple years ago reading me a chapter from a Russian book, and this author was also talking about, like, how he believed the moon could be a spaceship. So there's actually, like, I wouldn't call them scientists, but actual authors going out, writing books and publishing them, people buying them. So this theory is big enough for even old folks without internet to know about it and believe in it.
So that theory has, like, always been a thing then.
Yeah, for many years probably. Like, if we talk about the biggest conspiracy theories on Earth, it might not be top 3, like with fucking. Can I even say the date? September 11th. Yeah, I'm gonna just say this. Yeah. Okay. So the 9/11 towers, it all being like a fake. Like, I mean, not fake, but that the U.S. were the ones who made it. So, or who planned it all out. Then we have JF Kennedy. Like, these conspiracies, or the moon landing was fake. Like, these are the biggest ones. But I think this one, the moon being built by aliens, should be in the top 10 most known conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I feel like the most popular for sure would be the 9/11 one. Yeah, and then of course everything else. Yeah, but 9/11 for sure at the top because that's like even people that don't know anything about conspiracies say stuff like that. The whole like Bush did whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, for my theory about the moon aliens stuff, like I don't believe it. It just sounds too weird. But I guess we heard weirder stuff in the past, so maybe I don't know. I'm not one to believe in this. Yeah, but this is it for my theory at least.
All right, bet. So mine is also gonna be on some sort of like man-made thing. The thing is, while I was doing my theory, I'd stop like I don't even know if this is a theory. I think this might actually be like completely true, and it completely blew my mind whenever I was reading about it. Because like that, the more they were talking about it, the more it started to seem like it was actually like a real thing in the past. So mine actually dates back to like indigenous times and times like that. Well, there was a theory, or what I thought was a theory at first, that the Amazon rainforest is entirely man-made. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh nah, first time.
Yeah, so it was my first time hearing about it too, which of course I went into it with open mind, like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely not man-made, but, you know, we'll see. So apparently back in indigenous times, there were nations ruled by farmers, of course, back there, because they needed food to survive, water to survive, so they would
obviously
build, yeah, exactly, so they'd build farms near rivers or whatever, and then build their civilizations on top of that. Well, apparently back then, the Amazon never existed. It was just like a big field of grass, basically. All of the eastern forests back then were just mainly patchworks of gardens with different types of vegetables and stuff. And all the indigenous would use those farms like that to feed their people. Well, apparently scientists didn't believe, like something made scientists believe, I guess, as, you know, because there's a very, very big deforestation problem happening over there. So they probably like started looking deeper once more trees were getting cut down. They didn't believe that this forest was always there. So, you know, they took a deeper look into the Amazon, and levels below where humans could even reach, they started to find a lot of human fingerprints. If you guys don't know how the Amazon works, it's basically in different like sub-levels. So you have like the ground you're on, and under that there's like more grass, then there's more vines. It's like what the ground you're standing on isn't the actual ground in the Amazon. It's more just like there's more sub-levels under that. Yeah, so below the actual ground, quote unquote, there were human fingerprints where no human could ever possibly touch right there. So they believe that before there were any trees, it was all man-made, and they were grown there to like live off the different type of fruits and stuff that grew off these trees. Well, scientists believe that it happened moreover about 8,000 years ago. When it came to farming back then, they would only use trees that they favored instead of keeping all trees. So they would have their vegetables, they would have potatoes and stuff, and then they would grow trees for like cocoa beans and stuff like that. They would only keep the cocoa bean crops, and they would also keep something called the Brazilian nut crops, which makes up a vast majority of the trees that are seen growing in the Amazon rainforest right now. The indigenous started then sprinkling the areas with different phenotypes that are proved to be useful for them. So they would, you know, put the cocoa beans in one area, the Brazilian nuts in other areas, and of course you got the bananas and stuff like that. And then they would sprinkle phenotypes all over all the trees in the area. Their cultivation eventually started to alter entire regions of the Amazon. So of course, as I just explained, you have a different ground. Well, this is at the very, very below the sub-level. So this is where the actual ground is. And of course, vines would start growing over the grass, and that would create a new layer, which completely altered what the Amazon was back then. Scientists realized that all trees in the Amazon are structured by importance to an extent. So lower trees would have the cocoa beans, higher trees maybe be bananas, but above that would be the Brazilian nuts, and then of course it would go into different levels as each tree grew. I've always heard that they grew on different levels, but I would have never thought that this would be man-made by any extent whatsoever. Scientists,
it also, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, but I mean, it also sounds kind of like, I don't know, hard to believe almost. Like if it
Yeah.
happened 8,000 years ago, did they really have the capabilities to do so much, to plant like so many trees, and also in this type of fashion that it's all layered and all like pretty well planned out.
Exactly. Like even during CDD, we would always hear just like people back then, they would just do crazy things that you couldn't even imagine. Like, how do they do any of this stuff without any type of machines back then? Like, it's just, of course, you have like the Maui statues. How did they get there? You have the pyramids. How the fuck did they possibly stack those together? And then you have like even back in the indigenous times where they didn't even have tools back then. They're creating entire rainforests that are still like huge to this day. Well, used to before the deforestation, but that's still insane. But it says scientists realized that all trees in the Amazon were structured by importance to extent, and the people that created this would have probably lived in galactic communities, which is basically a group of settlements separated by distance but linked by trade and communication. So back then they basically they were all sectioned off into different groups, which I'm pretty sure we've all heard of them. You know, the Mayans and stuff like that. And they would like interact with each other only whenever they wanted to trade different types of vegetables. And this of course spread the Amazon rainforest even vaster than it was, along with the banks of the river that crossed to irrigate the forest. Now if this is all true, taking everything in account that we just heard, hopefully you guys understood that. I explained it as best as I could. It took me a while to kind of like put it into words because they were using a lot of scientific jargon basically. But if they were able to accomplish this feature back in, you know, if this was 8,000 years ago, this had to be like what? I don't even know how time worked, but you guys can do the math on now, the scientist people that are listening to this. But yeah, this is more than 8,000 years ago. If they were able to accomplish it back then, wouldn't that mean that we could basically solve deforestation right now?
We maybe could, but also the people responsible don't want to do this. There's always some fuckery going on behind the scenes.
So you don't think they want to?
Bruh, I still believe kinda that something like a cure for cancer and stuff exists somewhere, but they just don't want to drop it. And this also goes for other deadly diseases, because you will not make bank if everyone is cured of cancer.
Yeah,
you will make
that's
more
true.
money if you just treat them indefinitely, and they just I mean live barely or get better slowly, but it's never fully cured. And same goes for forests probably, because the less wood you have on Earth, the more expensive it gets.
No way.
So-
They're trying
So yeah.
It kills us though. They don't care.
Why would they, bro? It's all money. If after they die, they're gone. So they just live in life like while they're here, bro. It's not the same thing. But even with diamonds, like we think diamonds are actually rare. They really aren't. Like diamonds are not as rare as you think. We just pay hella money because they don't make enough diamonds. Like
What?
so diamonds are not that hard to make. So gold should cost more because gold is more rare or rare. So diamonds would cost way less, but because they want the price to be high, they just don't make a lot of diamonds and act like it's very rare. I didn't even know about this until like 2 years or three years ago, when I just read about this online somewhere. I did some research, and yeah, that's actually true. The process of making diamonds is not that difficult. People low-key make small diamonds at home if they know what they are doing.
Wait, how? How do they do that?
I don't know the exact process right now in my head, but I think it's basically just working with heat, heating up certain materials. Wasn't it some carbon dioxide, type shit? I don't know. Yeah, and it might sound difficult, but the thing is, you can make it by just heating up. So as long as you have the means to change temperature at your house, or I mean, it doesn't need to be at your like at home, but it's definitely easier to do than just go out and mine gold
What's
or
with,
mine
it's with coal,
rubies. Yeah, right. Is it coal? I'm not sure about the exact material right now. I would need to look this up, but I'm very sure that this is still true. Diamonds are not actually as rare as people think.
No
It
way,
just costs a lot because they want it to cost a lot. Like if they just make more diamonds, they would lose like their all their high ass costs. Like diamonds would cost way less if they just started making more. It's not that difficult, but that's just how capitalism. If we want to go up there to the max, like capitalism as a concept works like this. So, and the same goes for these forests. Like if you have less wood, less trees, of course wood will cost more. So this is something they would want to happen. And after they die, I mean, they're gone. They don't care as long as they live a comfortable life while they are alive. Like, anything that comes after this, like, why should they care?
It's just the fact that they can make entire forests if they wanted to. I mean, like that. Like I said, like this went from a theory to literally sounding like it was true. Because like I don't. What are they theorizing in this? they're stating facts throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, the theory is probably, were they able to do this 8,000 years ago? If they were, that's even crazier, considering we don't do this still. But yeah, like I just remembered, like wasn't Mr. Beast planting trees last year or 2 years ago? People donated $1, and $1 equaled one tree planted or something.
Yeah.
And he just made like a whole forest. Like he planted a whole forest, and that's just one dude and a like couple other people just planting trees for some time. Like imagine what we could do if these whole corporations, like, with thousands and thousands of people, just started planting trees. Like we wouldn't have any issues. Like we wouldn't have the forests becoming smaller and smaller, but they just don't want to do this. It's just too much work, and it doesn't bring in money. So we live in a society.
That absolutely. I don't even think. I don't know. This is probably gonna sound stupid, but I feel like America hypes, or actually the world hypes up a lot of stuff so that we can immediately get to fixing it right now instead of just like prolonging it any longer. Which basically, as an example, right? You know, as of right now, they're like, oh, you know, if we don't start doing stuff right now for global warming, then we could die within the next couple of months. Which I don't think we really would die in the next couple of months, of course. It's just the fact, it's just the fact that Americans and humans don't do anything unless it's like urgent and it affects them right now. So if they were to be like, yeah, if you guys don't start taking care of the world right now, you might explode the world in about 50,000 years. That's terrible. We wouldn't care because it's 50,000 years from now. So they just say, oh, next month. And then, of course, everybody wants to start recycling and stuff right now.
Yeah, the sad reality is just that we as humans just, or almost, I would say almost everyone just doesn't care about these issues as long as they are not affected by them directly. Like you will hear about World War III almost popping off, like because of Russia, the US and Ukraine. People in Australia don't care. Like this doesn't affect them. They just don't give a fuck. And probably people in other countries also, as long as they're not directly affected.
Yeah.
And same happened with COVID in 2020 when it was coming out. Even myself, like I heard about the virus in China going on, like people talked about this, but no one took it seriously. Suddenly it's there in front of your doorstep, and then you just start caring. And another very big example for this is the whole plastic waste. Obviously, like we slowly start changing stuff, but it's still not fast enough. Global warming, plastic, like all this stuff, like we have an island. I believe still, that is entirely made up of plastic bottles. Like people throw them in the ocean, and they just get to this one point, like the tides, the waves that get them there, and then they form a whole island that's just there in the ocean. You can Google it. There's a whole small island just made up of plastic bottles.
What is it called? Is it just like island made out of waste or something?
Yeah, it doesn't have a name. No one is living there. People just call it island because it's too big. Like it has like the size of like a kind of small island, and you of course cannot live there because it's just bottles. So
no, I'm looking it up right now. This is crazy. I didn't know this is actually a thing.
Damn. I low-key thought like everyone knew about this, but I mean it's still good if more people learn about this. Like people throwing just some random plastic stuff in the ocean, it will come back to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like everything you do that negatively affects Earth in any way, for money, for laziness, for anything, it will come back to you, and maybe not you directly, but maybe your descendants, your kids. Like, I mean, if you don't care about what happens after you're gone, I guess. Like, pop off, King. But
I still see like it's really like a huge thing. Like they really don't give a shit at all.
I mean, that's also most politicians, low key. If we want to go there, but that's also like kind of also a topic for another day. Like politicians just get their bag, just talk some random ass shit, start a war here and there. don't care about what happens after they are gone.
Yeah, Biden going crazy because he knows his days are... Actually, I can't even... He going crazy right now, though.
Fuck this. Biden, not my president. Actually,
He's
not
not.
my president.
It won't even... I don't even think it'll affect you. You'll be watching from the sidelines. We all get annihilated.
Oh, fuck. If World War III happens, bro, I better not get drafted on because of some politics shit. Like they're like, we gotta support these countries, bro.
Yeah.
Get in. But nah, countries nowadays have an actual military with enough soldiers. Why would we as regular people get drafted? Like all we would be is just cannon fodder. So it doesn't benefit. Nah, I don't know. They just drop a nuke and we're gone. Like what would we even do?
Do you think they'll be that quick? Like, what do you think a new world would look like? A new war, I guess. Because they're saying if we go to war nowadays, it'll be all like online.
Hacking wars. So all about information. Who is shooting rockets to whom, like, or where? But I guess for many years now, people always say that if a third world war would start, it would be a nuclear war. So maybe it would start off as just soldiers going at it on some country borders, just like with Russia, Ukraine, and the US getting involved. But then after a while, nukes would start to drop at like specific places. I don't know if civilians would be targeted, but nukes are very bad. Like if just to say it with those words, like it doesn't matter. Like a nuke could be dropped in the US, for example, in the West, and the East would still kind of be affected by this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely nuclear war. And if it gets too extreme, her whole planet or 90% of all humans would be wiped out.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, America's gonna be like, you know what? And just drop like a planetary bomb and just blow up all of everything over there. What is wrong with you?
I mean, I also talked to my dad about, because I was just not sure actually. Like, are humans like we like to power scale anime and stuff like on TikTok, right? Like
Yeah.
people like nowadays power scaling and stuff. And I just wondered, are humans planetary? Like if we dropped all the nukes we got at the same time, would Earth just break? Because I don't know. Like, I'm not sure actually.
Well, I think it would if we were to okay, so if it ever gets to the point for some reason over Ukraine, like if Russia goes to war with America, because Biden is really adamant on saying that's gonna happen, like he's going strong on it. If we were to just like throw each other everything that we got, I think we just completely wipe out the human race. Like that might be like the next like plague that they had back in the day. Like, we might just be living in the next like reset, basically.
Fuck, new civilization gotta come, and history repeats.
Yeah, exactly. Then all like
But yeah.
the bacteria gotta form new monkeys, and the monkeys gotta form new whatever y'all believe. Like,
Fuck.
evolutionists believe it.
But yeah, humans would definitely die. But I'm just wondering, like, would the world actually just like split apart, like explode or anything? I probably not. Like humans would die, animals would die, like most animals probably.
Or like, what if they like repeatedly hit one spot with the nuclear just over and over again?
Yeah, that's the question. Like, are humans even planetary if we do this? Like the same spot over and over, like wouldn't happen. Obviously, like there's no reason for this.
Now that you don't know that,
because the Earth goes deeper than people might think. Aren't humans only like 12 kilometers? I don't know how many miles that is, like 50 miles? I don't know. 12 kilometers deep, and Earth is a couple thousands kilometers deep. So,
shit.
Yeah, so we only scratch the surface. Now, if we just focus on one spot and drop, I don't know how many nukes we have on Earth. Maybe like there will be a big ass crater, but then I don't know if the Earth would actually just get destroyed completely.
Well, I actually learned something. For some reason, like this whole time, I thought nuclear bombs would just like, if they were to hit America, I thought they would take out at least like 5 states. But apparently, like if they were to hit Georgia, it would only take out like maybe about 10 cities.
Yeah, like the initial impact, like the center point is like not that big relatively, but then the whole consequences with the radioactive whatever elements that are in there and nuclear sun type of shit. I don't know. I don't have all the details, but it definitely will affect the more places around it after a while, and make the place obviously unlivable for centuries and more. Like we still have these places in Japan and Russia where power plants or whatever exploded, and now you cannot live there for many years. Now no one was able to live there, and this will still go on for many more years.
Jesus, Fallout 5 about to go crazy.
Damn.
This one's an entire world map of that shit.
In real life.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I wouldn't even want to be alive during that shit, but that shit just seems like an entire waste and a half, honestly. Just go ahead and take me out. If it ever comes to that, I'm just running into the bomb, honestly. Like there's nothing I can do.
Understandable. Yeah. Like if you know it's the end, like for real, like it's the end, like why would you go into a bunker if you had one and then just starve to death at some point? Like you cannot get out. Like there's no one saving you. Why just suffer and stay there for maybe a month if you have enough food and then starve? Like that's just more painful.
Yeah, like once I realized that 99% of the chat didn't know how to boil water to clean it, and we doing that stream, I was like, yeah, we're just go ahead and tap out right there.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. You got your daily dose of nuclear explosions and Amazons and moons and aliens. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And there's more to come.
Absolutely, yeah. So this has been Further Beyond. This has been Pan. This has been Apollo. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll come at you next week. Sorry for the lack of I think that was the first one we ever missed. Fuck.
Might be, yeah. Like Mogo and EG weren't there to save the day. I had an exam going on. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry for you guys for the lack of an episode last week, but we're getting right back on the grind now. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you guys next one. Peace.